And hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week of ERO and another week of PlayStation F5, the first race again. For another week today, we are in Season 9, Round 3 for the Spanish Grand Prix, the Catalunya GP. We are in the beautiful Barcelona for this GP today. As I will get all the screens on. 15 drivers today, not as many as there has been previously, but it is my lucky number. Well, not my lucky number, the number which I always use for everything. Sorry, I think I may have the hiccups now. This is brilliant. Um, but yeah, 15 drivers, a debut driver today, actually. And yeah, that is it. Who is out first? It is Apple Said Hintakala. I'm gonna call him Apple Said because I mean that's his name. He had a very good debut race last week in Japan, I believe. He finished P6 or P7, I think it was. That is before penalties have been done. It's maybe expected for him to drop out of the points. I think they're still yet to be done. Then behind we have Trunk, and Trunk is on his home race. Trunk is a Spanish driver with us on the Ero. He's repping this Spanish helmet. You can see a nice little red and blue helmet and a bit of white. So Trunk being proud of his nation, racing at his home GP this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see if he maybe outperforms a few people, as you know, it's his home GP. Maybe he'd be better at it than the others, as he has went onto the gravel a little bit there. But it's fine. Apple said he's letting him pass. We're actually going to stay with Trunk, as it's going to be Trunk. His home race is going to be the first person on a lap. As I'll quickly try to get a track guide up, as I believe Appleseed has actually spun. Apparently there's rain. There is rain in the race, apparently. Okay, this is a lot more interesting. This will be the first time we've saw rain in ERO this season. And we're in round 3, we haven't saw any yet. Spain layout. Let me see if I can try get up. Hopefully, Trunk won't be blocked by Black Wolf, as he does get out the way very nicely. He's going into what, turn 5 this is. A tricky left-hander. Then turn 6, which isn't really a corner, and then you've got turn 7, turn 8. Many people spin here, including me sometimes in practice. But he does it well, and up to turn 9, you've got to get this line right in 7th gear. He does it well. Then down the DRS straight, he goes round turn 10, the sector with 7 corners in it. Then he goes round turn 11 and turn 12. Up, he's in 4th still, up to 5th, round turn 13, turn 14, 15, and going round the last corner, turn 16. Trunk, Fabrizio, on his home race, will set a 18-9 to start off, as also the debut driver, I still haven't mentioned his name, the debut driver of Marcel Evans, I believe it is. Let me just have a quick little check. Marcel Evans saying he teleported in the wall. Ah, brilliant. Okay, so first of all, I saw someone get a penalty there, and if I'm right, I believe it was Apple said he actually got a time penalty from someone. As Marcel is absolutely fuming as Stevie comes across the line in 18.8, with a few more drivers coming across, I believe, with Alpines at Schultz starting a lap, with a few people spinning on their laps, Apple being one of them. So actually I'm thinking there might just be higher downforce setups here because of it being wet conditions. So we might not see the fastest of laps potentially because of the rain. in the race apparently. So it'll be interesting to see. As Villeneuve, an 18-3. Technically, you could say this is Villeneuve's home GP. He is Portuguese. Actually, no, there's a Portuguese Grand Prix. What am I talking about? Forget everything I just said. He's not racing at his home GP. Forget what I said just there. Black, of course, the line of 21-1, but that is with no ERS. He is on this lap now, I believe. He hasn't turned on the ERS, though, Black Wolf, so... yeah, maybe not the smartest of ideas, as he's still not got the DRS on. I mean, not the DRS, the ERS. Swistack a 21.4, Suchel a 19.4. James Sullivan, is he on a lap? I believe he is. In third gear, very nice. Turn 7, turn 8, don't spin. He takes it kind of safe. As it's good to see that everyone is getting out of the way. 4 drivers like James Sullivan, who's on a lap. Apple with a 59.5, the absolute god lap. He is on another lap though, so we will see him improve. Most likely, as he probably spun about 5 times on that lap by the looks of the time. James Sullivan going around the last 3 corners now. What is he going to get is the question. He's going to come across the line and get an 19.1. P4 though, very good to know. About 2 tenths off. Actually no, about a tenth and a half off of Trunk. Oh, Trunks left. Okay, get the invites in. Give me a second, people. Where's his name? Trunk. Invite back. So, SFOD spun in his lap. Tim starting his lap. I'll actually ride aboard with Tim. Got pole position in... what was the first track? Bahrain. And then had a few Beyblade moments. He had a Beyblade moment in Bahrain, and then many in... what track was it last week? Many in Japan last week. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do now, as Marcel has also left the session. What on earth is happening? I'm just going to send an invite to the group, because I feel like this would be much, much easier. I don't want to put Tim off though. I'm inviting the group. I'm sorry Tim, I hope that does not put you off. As Nikhil comes across the line, a 30.7 goat lap. Tim's going to come across the line. What will Big Tim at least be able to set? It's actually going to be close to pole. 18.7 goes P2 right now. It's a good lap from Tim. We have Apple Said on the lap. We'll watch aboard with him. As going in the last 3 corners now, what will Apple Said be able to get is the question. He's going to come across the line. I think it's going to be in... oh no, it's in the 18s. Forget what I was about to say. 18.8 goes P4. Half a tenth off of Stevie in P3 right now. As I thought I'd just mention, like, you know, a few of the people who are absent. We have Elliot Parker, sadly not here, because his PlayStation Plus ran out. and he currently cannot afford to get it, and also, you know, like, very too close to the race. It was about like 5-10 minutes before the race that he actually found out that it ran out. We'll run on board with Stevie and see how Stevie can do. I wonder what assist Stevie is on, because he's always been changing, and I never know what he's on. Because at one point he was on. Oh, as he is purple sector 1, he is just under a tenth up on his time, but he needs to be about 4.5 tenths up to beat Villeneuve, which is absolutely unbelievable when you look at it like that. But it's a purple sector 1 for him, so we'll see if he can improve in the next two sectors. As he crosses the line, he's 4.5 tenths up. This is going to be very, very, very close to Villeneuve unless he messes up in this last sector or he gains even more time in the last sector. But it's an unbelievable lap from Stevie right now. What will he be able to get is the question. Is it going to be in the 17s maybe? He's going to come across the line. It's going to be a 17.8. He went a second up on his time. It's a 17.8 flat, and he goes 5. Let me get 5.5 tenths clear of Villeneuve. Wow, what a lap, man. And this man is supposed to be an F5. As Tim is saying, someone broke the pit limiter sign. That is common. As Trunk has invalidated his lap, Swiss Stack is on a lap. Looks to be a bit laggy, but it doesn't seem that bad. He's currently down on his time. I don't think it's like a flying lap. Blackwolf though, nearly a second up on his time. I think he did maybe have a moment on his lap, his previous lap by the looks of things for the times. So we'll see what he can do now. He was a second up. I would guess maybe 2 seconds up. 2 seconds up would be a good time. 1.5. Maybe gain another half in the last sector, hopefully. Would put him, you know, it would probably keep him in the same position, but it would be able to improve his time. As this Ford goes P9 right now, a 19.6 probably will be able to improve on that though. But we're going to see Blackwolf. What is he going to be able to set is the question. He's going to come across the line a 19.3. He does set a much better time, nearly 2 seconds faster. Well, promote him 1 place up to P9, a 19.3, just under 2 tenths off to James Sullivan, who is next on the grid. Currently sitting in P8. As a few drivers will be coming around now for the last laps. As Apple said, it's actually starting another lap. Let's see what Appleseed can do. He proved that his pace last week in Japan was good, just maybe not the cleanest of drivers, I guess you could say. I don't really want to say that, but like he got reported a lot of times and may potentially drop out of the points because of how many times he got reported. So it'll be interesting to see if he can improve himself this week, because he goes extremely wide. And he backs out while also taking out one of the braking boards. Interesting. Tronk. Actually, no, it was only the 150. I was going to say Tronk wouldn't be the happiest with that. But it is only one braking board with the 150, and I'm pretty sure that corner is like a 75-meter brake point. So it's not that bad. As Zulf, surprisingly, hasn't set a time yet, and Bastian both not set a time as of yet. Oh. Zulf apparently has a collie ban. I did not know that. What? How did you get a collie ban? as we're gonna watch Bastian hopefully and see if he can set a lap time. I just need to actually check and see. Um, I genuinely cannot find the F5 reports, but here it is. Where is PlayStation F5? Here we go. As Bastian coming up into the as he does that corner quite well. I wonder where about he's going to be. I mean, we can't tell right now what it is, but it's a 52.5 in the second sector. I don't know if that's, like, good or bad, but we'll see now where Bastian's going to go. I'm going to say a prediction right now. I am going to say P8 for Bastian. As he goes P6, he beat me. But Appleseed there has retired on track. As we could see from Bastian's POV, he literally had to dodge the car of Appleseed. As Stevie's still in the pits, he isn't coming out again. Apple has spun on a lap again and hasn't been able to improve on any lap time, and he's only got 30% ERS to set a better lap time. As he cuts the corner, dives in the pits, Apple will be starting P13. As Apple, what was that? Apple, why, Apple, why? Why? Anyway, moving on. Tronk! Whoa, sorry, I did not see this. Tronk, 18.4 goes P3. Suchel, 18.6, actually, crossing the line. Suchel, P2! Okay. An 18.2 for Suchel. Goes P2. Villeneuve is on the lap, though, remember that. Down to first gear, oh my days. Yeah, Stevie is confident in his lap time. Zolf will start P14 as he has a quali ban. Evans crashed into the wall, something weird happened. Apple will start P13, Nico will start P12, Isford will start P11, with Black Wolf on the lap, with Swiss Stack on the lap, with Bastian on the lap, with Tronk retiring in the pits, with Suchel coming in on an in-lap. Villeneuve is very close to the time of Suchel. He was about a 10th up. He needs to be about 600ths up, actually, exactly, to beat Suchel. Will Villeneuve be able to go front row with his former teammate? He will not! He will miss out by 13 thousandths. So Suchel says P2 right now. Bastian is in the pits. Black Wolf is down in his time. I believe that is quali over. Yeah, quali is over. So, Stevie on pole, near enough 5 temps, showing, maybe shouldn't be an F5. I don't know. Suchel, very, very nice quali for him. P2. Villeneuve gets P3. Tronk, home race, gets P4. It's very, very nice to see him in the upper end of the field. We then have Tim in P5. Also, Bastian in P6. So, Mercedes actually very strong on this track right now. We then have Appleseed in P7. We have James Sullivan in P8. We'll hopefully see the rest of the grid in a second. Appleseed has a 5-place grid penalty, so actually, he'll be starting P12. So, it will actually be Bastian P6, then James Sullivan P7, Swisstack P8, Black Wolf P9, Esfeld P10, Nick Hill P11, and then Appleseed in P12. So it's actually going to be P11, 12, and 13 occupied by Finnish drivers, I should say. As that is your grid. I've went through it all, as we have Apple in P13, Zulf in P14 with his quality ban, and Merce 11's crashing out in quali due to a glitch at the very start of quali. Very unlucky to him, as he did say he did have the pace. So we will see what happens. There was supposed to be rain in the race, and it is raining! This is what it's all about. There is rain in the race. The first time that we see rain in Ero this season. No tier has saw rain yet. And F5 is the first tier to see it. It looks inter conditions by the looks of things at Spain. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what is going to happen here. The times might not have been that good for a few drivers because they've went higher downforce potentially. It might be rain the whole race. It might be rain into dry. It might be enters into wet. Who knows? But there's no formation up, I believe. So we're gonna be underway in any second. As there's 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's lights out and away we go. Does Stevie get a good start? No, and Suchel is going to take the lead of the GP. And Stevie's getting swarmed like usual. He's already fell into the middle of the pack, but we look back up to the front with Suchel P1, Tronk and Villeneuve actually fighting for P2 right now. As Bastian's up to P4, Stevie is spun round. Apple as well. Apple, Topo, Stevie and Evans are all round. Oh, okay, this is really, really interesting. But with Suchel at the front, with Villeneuve in P2 right now, we then have the Mercedes, actually, occupying 3rd and 4th. Very good start for both of them. We have Black Wolf P5, Tim P6, Nick Hill P7, Swisstack P8, James P9, Apple Say P10, Zolf P11, Esfeld P12, Mars 11's P13, Apple Topo P14, and Stevie in P15. Let's get the position changes up and see, you know, like, what a great start for Black Wolf. P9 to P5 and Nick Hill, P11 to P7. Oh, a Swiss Stacks round. I believe that was Apple Said and Swiss Stack both involved in a collision, as there was a front wing gone from a driver. That is an unsafe rejoin as well, and it is Apple Said, so it's Apple Said going into the back of Swiss Stack. Again, Apple Said being involved in a very, very bad incident, and this time a broken front wing as well. As Villeneuve overtakes Suchel. As Suchel's being swarmed by Tronk, it's Esford in the pits on the main. No, it's on the straight. Is it a safety car? No, it's not. But Esford has spun it in the last corner, and it's a VSC. Oh, okay. So, I mean, this isn't really going to help Apple Said at all, but we can look here, and Villeneuve is leading a Grand Prix again, as he's went from P3 to P1, Suchel sitting in P2, started P2, with Tronk moving up a place, Bastian moving up 2, with Black Wolf moving up 4, with Tim falling down 1, with Nick Hill up 4, we have Zolf up 6. He started P14 and he's already up to P8. As we'll be under racing, of course, with this VSE, and we'll just watch Villeneuve now to see when we're going to be back on the way, and also see if anyone gets drive-through penalties, you know? Someone maybe not the smartest and speeding. As we're still not underway yet. But this is definitely not the sector you want to be in right now when it's restarting. As Apple Said gets a drive-through penalty, he is at the back. And yeah, nobody else gets one, which is very good to see. As Villeneuve has such a good exit. And he's left Sucho 1.4 seconds behind, and we can see Tronk and Bastian both very close behind to Sucho. As Tronk might send it, no he doesn't, he decides to think better of it, and stays behind right now in P3. As Zolf is getting the move on Nick Hill. Is it done? No, it's not actually. As Zolf has to go round the outside. Does he get it done? Oh, Nick's kind of still there. You don't want to send it here though, and Zolf gets the position. Zolf up 7 positions and up into P7. Very good start from him. As we can see, Villeneuve is darting it. He is using his ARS quite a bit. Actually, let's get that up. I know it doesn't matter much, but we can continue to look at it as Tim gets the move on Black Wolf. I think Black Wolf actually went into the back of Tim there, and Black Wolf is falling down the order as James Sullivan and Russell Evans both fighting. There's a load of wheel tapping here as the AlphaTaris are going side by side. As Marcel has a massive moment. Oh, and he bumps with Nick Hill. Oh, and he's pushed on the curb. And everyone's being held up. Oh my days, what is this? Can we get a better camera angle, please? Look at this. It's 2-3 wides. It's with a 3 wide in the background. As Stevie's on the fastest lap. As Stevie absolutely sends it on James. Does he get a position? No, he doesn't. But this is an insane 6-car battle. James is gone off of... James is gone. And who as well? Apple as well is gone. But we can see moves up the field. Fabricio and Suchel are fighting. They're still side by side with Zolf and Tim. They're still side by side as well. As Tim keeps the position and Tronk is up into P2 in his home GP. Oh my days. That was a lot at the back here. As it's Nick Hill, Stevie and Swistak. As Stevie's going to go for an absolute amazing send on Nick Hill. Nick Hill misses his braking point a little bit, trying to, just make sure he doesn't cause anything. And Stevie up into P8. Absolutely unbelievable that is. Whoa! Apple, Marcel Evans and James all fighting. Apple and James are side by side. I would love better camera angles at this track as Apple's going for a switchback. But Marcel tries to go round the outside, but no traction at all. And James is there. Can I get a better cam? There are 3... Nah, man, what is this? Marcel Evans, man. I'm sorry. You literally forced Apple off, and I think that's Apple's front wing going, no, it's not. It's Marcel Evans. There's going to be so many reports. I'm sorry, Jacob, but you've got your hands full this week, mate. Marcel Evans is ERS in it to try to keep ahead when he has no front wing at all. As he has let them go by, which is the right decision. He can't even make a corner. This front wing is that destroyed, but Tim very close to Zolf right now. Zolf, by the way, up into P5, starting P14. Very, very fast in the wet conditions, Zolf is. But we can see Suchel's starting a train now. He's not been so strong recently. And Tronk has actually gained a 1.8 second gap on Suchel. And it is currently a Portuguese and Spanish driver in P1 and 2. So you could say there's a bit of association there. As that is Apple Topo round at the back. And it's now Apple in P13 and P14. As we see Stevie and Blackwolf fighting. Stevie gets the move on Blackwolf. Now it's to gain 5 seconds to catch back up to Tim, who's in P6. But we can look ahead. Suchel has lost another 5 attempts to Tronk. That is unbelievable. He's losing so much time. As we can see, Suchel is actually using quite a bit of his battery to try get a gap from Bastian, but it's not really working that well, as Marcel Evans is in the pit to get a new front wing, as the battling between him and James Sullivan wasn't the cleanest. I don't even know what happened, really. We couldn't get a good camera angle because of it, but... Oh well, we'll continue looking on as... Look at this, man. Tronk is unbelievable in the wets. He's just turned it up all of a sudden. He's... it was 1.9 second gap time in Villeneuve. It's now 1.5 second gone. It's now only a 5/10th gap. As that Swiss stack spun near the back. It might have actually been a Villeneuve mistake or just a Tronk masterclass. I'm not sure. As Villeneuve goes extremely wide. We're going to continue to watch this battle between the Portuguese and Spanish driver. Tronk is right there. Tronk could be on for a win today, which is unbelievable. And Tronk is going to use his ERS, so is Villeneuve though, but Villeneuve has a significant amount less than Tronk, as Villeneuve is using them the whole entire straight. As Zolf is getting past Bastian, they still side by side though. Actually, Zolf's getting 2 moves done. He's getting Suchel and Bastian. He has to back out slightly. There is space there. If he gets the acceleration right, he can slow in there. And he absolutely pressures the car into it. And like that, Zolf's up into a podium position already. As we can see Tronk and Villeneuve. Tronk is up into the lead of the GP. His first time leading the Ero, I believe. I might be completely wrong with that though. But Tronk is up into the lead. Villeneuve is closely behind with Zolf up 11 positions this race already. With then Suchel, Tim and Bastian. Bastian actually losing 2 positions there, going from P4 to P6 as Tim and Zolf both overtook him. As Stevie, remember how it was a 5-second gap? It's 1.6 now. Stevie has absolutely incredible pace right now, which is unbelievable. He's so much faster than the drivers in front. You could also say a bit of battling going on, but I wouldn't say that would have a massive effect on it. But we'll see. Is there maybe going to be any moves in this like little train between Zolf, Suchel, Tim and Bastian? Maybe Tim? Don't think so. But we do know that Stevie is now within the second range. I know there's no DRS, but within the second range is always interesting to look at. As it's going to be Bastian versus Stevie, I believe. That's Stevie's right up behind Bastian. Let's see, is Stevie going to be able to get the move done soon as he locks up a little bit? Goes a bit wide, but could be for the better potentially, as it is starting to get maybe a little less cloudy. It's not... I mean, it's still cloudy nonetheless, as Tim and Suchel nearly went side by side there. I would not want to be going side by side there. Let's look at the gap! Tronk is on an absolute masterclass. 2.5 second gap to Villeneuve already. Tronk is loving the wets right now, as that is... Oh, it's a reset the track for Marcel Evans. Caught it. Sorry, Marcel. But it has to be done. I mean, I caught you, so... Well, Tim maybe look to get a move on the Suchel. Suchel 1.4 seconds behind Zolf now, so Zolf being able to keep ahead of the drivers. As Stevie gets the move done on Bastian. That is Nick Hill gone? Nick Hill ghosted fighting Apple, I believe. But Tim, right next to Suchel. I wouldn't be sending it here, but maybe getting a better acceleration is there's a tap between Tim and Suchel, and it allows Tim to go side by side with him. Maybe a switch back. Oh, it's beautiful if he can get it done. Tim, oh, and Suchel manages to just get ahead still. That was going to be a really nice switchback if Tim managed to get it. But Tim is absolutely all over Suchel, but Suchel is doing brilliant defending here to keep him behind. but they're getting such a bigger gap from Suchel to Zulf now. It's nearly 2 seconds. It was just a second a lap ago. As that is Marcel Evans left the session while I believe he binned it into the wall again. So he has, I guess, rage quit from the session, which is, never good to see. As he is now lapped as, Bastian round, I believe. Yeah, Bastian, a little mistake. He's fallen behind now. As currently in P7, giving a little wave with the weave-in. But look at this gap between Tronk and Villeneuve. Tronk is loving the wets right now. A 4-second gap. This is an unbelievable gap. But we're going to go back to watching Tim and Suchel. This is probably the most entertaining fight. Also, Stevie behind as well now. Oh yes, this is what we're been waiting for. Is some very, very close and intense battling. Is that is Apple Topo gone at the back again? And it's a full safety car. Did Apple bin it into the wall? Yes, he did. His front line's gone. So full course safety car. So Tronk will absolutely be hating this because he had near enough a 5 to 6 second lead. As Tronk does go in the pits. So Tronk's going for new inners. Maybe that suggests it's going to be inners for a lot longer. As Villeneuve stays out, Zulf is in. Suchel's staying out, Tim's staying out, Stevie's staying out, Bastian's staying out. It's actually Tronk and Zulf, the only drivers right now to be going on to the new inners. As I think that's a front wing change as well for Zulf, it is. So Zulf's been doing this race with front wing damage, which is really interesting. As Blackwell stays out, James stays out, Swistak is in, and imagine the other drivers behind would also be coming into the pits. I think would be the smartest option. But Tronk still comes out P6, even with changing his tyres onto a new pair of inters. As it's actually probably best now if we can get the tyres up just so we can see who is on new tyres or not. As, yeah, we can see it's currently Tronk in P6 on new tyres, Zulf in P9, and then everyone at the back, Swistak, Apple Topo, and Apple Said, all changing their tyres to new inters as well. So this will be interesting to see if Tronk will be able to be... I mean, his pace was unbelievable compared to Villeneuve. As safety car, wow, safety car is actually going to take quite a while. We've got to wait for Apple Said and the AI. Actually, not the AI. We've got to wait for both Apples, I should say. We've got to wait for Apple Topo and Apple Said. As Nick Hill and Swistak are in. Nick Hill, weren't they literally... Oh my days, I think Swistak has damaged his front wing while being out, unless maybe he pitted the first time and it didn't repair his front wing. I'm not so sure, but Swistak is actually going to be the person who we're now waiting for. As I think we're going to be waiting maybe Might be in this lap, potentially. As could it be in this lap? No, it's too late. So we're going to be waiting one more lap, I believe. Yeah, we will. So I'm trying to think, how long do enters actually go here? So, safety car should be in this lap and it just comes up. So, we're going to be on the way for, I believe, 20 more laps of racing. I think the second or third safety car in F5. How many did we actually have last week? I can't remember. The first one today, though. Also the first time in the wets, if anyone is just joining in. First race this season that is wet for any tier across Ero. As Villeneuve is going to be controlling the pack, he is waiting a lot as he tries to restart and he spins. Is Suchel allowed to do that move? No, he's not. He has to let Villeneuve past. Oh my days, this is unbelievable. And then Tim's going to try and move. Is there side by side? Who's going to get the move? Villeneuve is struggling. Suchel's actually going to go for the lead. Oh, and they're still side by side. Leave the room. Tim, better acceleration. He's past Villeneuve. And Villeneuve drops 2 positions. Actually, no, forget that. Villeneuve sending it. Stevie's there as well. The whole field's bunched up. As Trunk side by side with Stevie on the newer tyres is what we have to remember. As he goes so far on the outside. He's still P5 though. Stevie actually nearly got Villeneuve there as well, as Villeneuve's holding everyone up. He's holding his former teammate Stevie up. He's also holding up Tronk, as Tronk might try go for this ridiculous move. He decides to back out, which is a smart idea, but Villeneuve has already fallen so far behind. He needs to let the drivers pass. I'm sorry, but he is currently a bit slower than people would think, as Zolf, I believe, is past James Sullivan there, as James has been swarmed by the drivers behind who are on the new tyres. But the pack is all together. As Suchel is leading yet again as we go into lap 15 of the race with 15 drivers, 14 remaining. As Tim is going to look to get a move here. Tim is using all of his ERS. We're going to see defensive work from Suchel, but we're going to see side by side into turn 1. And it's Suchel who gets the position. He keeps the position as Villeneuve is actually picking up the pace quite a little bit here. Chonk had a mistake, I believe, actually. As Zolf is all over the back of Bastian, left no space from Bastian. As it's a very nice move around the outside from Zolf, who's on the newer tyres, of course. And we might be able to see a bit of Chonk v Zolf here, which would be quite interesting, as Zolf looks like an absolute rocket right now. Always a little mistake from him there, actually, while we were on board. But Chonk picked it back up. He's with the other drivers now. The top 4, all on the 14 lap holders, all on the old tyres, compared to Zolf and Chonk both on 4 lap holds. So very different grid. There's this Black Wolf and Swiss Stack fighting. They're actually side by side. A load of tapping. Nick Hill and Apple Sade as well are fighting side by side. As Nick, close. Apple Sade is passed, but we're going to go back up to the front, as I think Tim's going to look for another move again on Suchel here. As Villeneuve is also behind. He's using quite a lot of ERS. As we're going to see Tim and Suchel going side by side again. Tim's using ERS through the corners. Oh, nearly contact between them. And they're going to go side by side for this corner in the inters. He better get left room. Suchel gets the better acceleration. And he gets ahead. But Villeneuve sneaks out of nowhere. Goes side by side with Tim. Oh, but he has to tuck in behind. Stevie is there. Stevie send it. Oh, Stevie thinks better of it. Zolf is past strong. I didn't see that. Zolf better acceleration. He's where he was before. Sorry, I think my mic just cut out there. Like I was saying, Zolf currently in such a good position to take the lead of this race as he did pit. We haven't saw Chonk though have the same pace he did before the safety car came out. Of course, on his home GP, wanting to perform strong. As Apple and Tim, Apple Tulpo and Tim, I should say, going side by side. Apple gets the move on the 6th lap hold enters as well, you have to remember. As James is defending off of Swiss Stack, who is behind on the newer tyres. As let's see, is Zolf close to Suchel? He is. What better acceleration from Zolf there? He might even look for a move now. Is he going to send it? Zolf, send it. Oh, he waits a little bit, but might be able to get better acceleration around the outside. Or the inside, I should say. Oh, Zolf picks up 3 seconds trying to move. And Zolf all of a sudden has just ruined this race, pretty much getting that 3-second time penalty. But he is in the lead of the race. And I was defending off Suchel, but it's causing Villeneuve to make mistakes, and it's causing Stevie to make mistakes, and Chonk to make mistakes. As the top 5 is all bunched up together right now. As we go into lap 18 of the race. And Zolf with his 3-second time penalty is going to drop back to about P6. Which he does not want to happen, as Suchel side by side with Zolf. As Zolf, brilliant defending work. Stevie's trying to send it on Villeneuve. Stevie gets Villeneuve. Chonk is right behind. On the newer tyres. Will we see a move? Chonk's going to send it on Villeneuve here. He's not being held up anymore. Oh, there is still space. Maybe better acceleration for Chonk. Yeah, side by side with Villeneuve. Spanish v Portuguese drivers as... Oh, they're still side by side. It's so close between them. As Villeneuve slightly backs out and Trunk gets the move. Trunk is up into P4. Actually, technically P3 because of Zolf's 3-second time penalty. As you can see, Zolf is just ERSing it now to try get the gap on Sucho because of his 3-second time penalty. Zolf is purple sector 2. That just shows you how much he's pushing right now with these newer and fresher tyres. Interesting to note though as well, which you have to remember, Sucho, Stevie, Villeneuve, Bastian, Tim, James, Blackwolf and Marcel, they'll all be in the pits in a few laps time for new enters, because these enters do not last long, I believe, unless it becomes dry later on in the race and they're going to stick it out on these pair of enters for the rest of the race. We'll have to wait and see. As Stevie trying to send it on Suchel, he makes Suchel actually dive bomb it, sort of. As Stevie trying to get the better acceleration on Suchel. Are we going to see a send here? Oh, he's there. Trunk is following behind on the newer tyres. Will we see a send here? No, we will not. We will see patience, as I believe Apple said at the back is spun. But Trunk is getting a lot better acceleration. I believe Trunk on no assists. So the acceleration compared to some drivers here on medium and full are going to be a lot different. As you can see, Zolf has got a 2.2 second gap to Suchel now, so Zolf actually right now has a podium position, even with his 3-second time penalty which he got from fighting his Trunk. Nearly is a moment there, nearly spins, and Villeneuve is now joining back in this fight for 2 podium positions. As Suchel goes wide, oh, and Stevie's so close. Trunk, they're all so close. It's a little train, but are we going to see a move here is the question. As Bastian is in the pits, he's the first one to pit out of everyone. As we're going to see Stevie and Suchel go side by side. Stevie's going to try to switch back again, but Suchel masterclass defending from him this weekend, and he's going to stay P2 right now. But Stevie sees that inside line, and he's going to take the inside line. They're going to go side by side again. Is Stevie finally going to be able to get the position? He is. Stevie's going to get the position. Trunk is there. The newer tyres. Side by side with Suchel for the podium, and Suchel's made contact with Stevie. But Suchel backs out. It's currently P4 for him. Stevie manages to survive, but Zolf has the lead right now. He's a 3.3 second gap to Stevie. With all this fighting, he's got that gap. But it's now Stevie Zolf has to pull away from. And if we know Stevie's pace throughout this race, is that Stevie is loving this track. As the gap is already about to be in less than 3 seconds. As it is already less than 3 seconds, showing Stevie loves this track and Zolf maybe not as much. Also to note, that's Stevie with 10 lap old tyres as well. As I think a few of these drivers should be pitting soon, but they're not. The only thing I can think of which they're not pitting is because of dry weather very soon at the end of the race, as it is getting maybe a little less cloudy as it was at the start of the race. But we're going to have to wait and see. It would be incredible for this to be a full inters race. But can we see any moves? We see the closest gap right now being Villeneuve to Suchel for P4. And then Trunk with Stevie. As this gap is so interesting, we're going to have to watch this whole race between Zolf and Stevie. It's literally staying at exactly 3 seconds now, pretty much. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that to see if Zolf will maybe be able to keep his win or not. We just have to remember this as well, though. Stevie is on 20. Oh, wait. Fabricio. Not Fabricio. Actually, Trunk tried to send it. They're side by side. Trunk is trying to go around the outside of Stevie here. Oh my days! What a move from Trunk! As he gets the move on Stevie. Stevie on 10 lap older tyres, remember. But we can see this whole midfield now all being bunched up together as Trunks is the new fastest lap of the race. He's pushing a lot, but Stevie is there again. Will he try sending? No, he will not, but will he try get a better acceleration? Yes, he will. Will he be able to get it against another driver on no traction? No, he won't. That is the difference in the traction. Stevie going against Trunk, both on no traction, I believe. His Trunk locks up. Maybe side by side again as Stevie gets it right. Oh, Trunk manages to hold off Stevie. Stevie fakes a move. Makes Trunk go wide. Master minds from Stevie, making Trunk make mistakes left, right and centre. As the gap to Suchel and Stevie now is 3 seconds. I didn't even pay attention to this. So Stevie right now has a podium. Trunk has a podium. Zulf has a podium. Even Zulf was 3 seconds as he went extremely wide there. But currently Trunk is going to take the win of this race. And Stevie's going to be very, very close behind to take P2. As Trunk is now all of a sudden showing his pace. As of course I was saying, he was making so many mistakes. But when Trunk's enters get about 10 to 15 laps old, his pace comes out of nowhere. Another fastest lap, 9 tenths faster than his PB lap. And he's gained a second and a half on Zulf in 1 lap. As Villeneuve is in the pits, he's one of the first drivers, actually the second driver, to go into the pits for a new set of inters. So I think it's going to be inters the rest of the race. He's just being one of the first drivers. As whoa, Appleseed, that is not a good move, mate. Appleseed sending it on Apple Topo. Luckily, though, he doesn't get in the way of Apple Topo. But that was definitely not the move you wanted to be doing there. But we've got to pay attention to these two, Trunk and Stevie. I believe both still on no traction. Trunk is actually no assists, I believe. As Stevie is on no traction, manual gears, ABS on, and racing line on, I believe. But is there any moves further in the field? We see Apple and Swisstack very close to one another. Apple's a bad exit though. Might leave himself vulnerable to Apple Sade behind, but we don't see any moves. We see Tim very close behind the Sushil. Will Stevie be in the pits maybe? Interesting thing to think of. Nope, he's staying out. Maybe Suchel, Tim, James, any of them? Nope. Nope. And James? Nope, they're all staying out. Oh, look how close this is. Apple Topos right behind Swisstack. As he is ERS in it. Doesn't have much though, and Swisstack is also ERS in it. It's Tim and Suchel side by side for P4. Both on 23 lap old inters. As they're still side by side, number 35 against number, I can't see the number, 25. 35 against 25. They're still side by side. Unbelievable. Oh, is there's a massive tap between them. They're still side by side. Another tap. And is Tim going to get the move for P4? He is. Tim is passed. Suchel do not dare. Oh my days. You do not want to send in that corner. But Tim stays ahead right now. But never say never to Suchel. And of course, he did qualify P2, remember. But look at the ERS difference. Suchel on 6%. Tim on 25%. I know it's in the wets, but still, you can use it on the straights. And let's look at this gap between Stevie and Trunk now. Stevie's got to go in. Is Stevie going to go in? No, he's not. Trunk is now, if there was DRS, although it is a wet race, Trunk is now within the second gap of Zulf, and Stevie's now 1.5 seconds behind Trunk. So Trunk is going for his first win, I believe also first podium in Ero, as he's never been this high up in any race, I believe. He's been finishing in the points a few times in F3 last season where I raced. Is Apple and Apple were fighting. So weird to say that. Apple and Apple. We've always known Apple Topo to be the only one. Whoa! Apple Said a massive moment. Saves it though. But he loses a lot of time to Apple Topo there because of it. But Apple Topo now right behind Swisstack yet again. Will we see maybe a move? We're going to have to wait and see. Oh, Apple gets such better acceleration. As that is Nick Hill, I believe. Yeah, oh, in the pit wall as well. That could cause something. That could cause a safety car or a VSC. It's not though. As Nick Hill is in the pits. That is the AI, so we don't matter. But look at the fight for the front. We're going to see Zolf and Trunk battle it out. Of course, Trunk doesn't need to overtake him technically. Because of the penalty. Will Stevie be in? No, he will not. They're mad going 24 laps on inters. Tim is not. Suchel is not. James is not. You don't have to pit. I believe in the inter conditions, you don't actually have to pit. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. As Zolf is pushing now. Zolf is trying to get a gap again. But the ERS difference is unbelievable. Zolf on 30, Trunk on 90. So Trunk is literally leaving it for like a whole straight where he's just going to like use 30 or 40% ERS just down the whole straight. Actually, probably not that much. Probably like 10 or 20%. As all the apples are close together again. Whoa! Appleseed tried to go for another ridiculous send, which is not worth it. And Ina falls behind Apple Topo again, a big gap, because he tries to go for the ridiculous sends. But we're going to go back up to the front, and we see Zolf and Trunk. They're 3 tenths close to one another. Yet again, the ERS difference. Will we maybe see Trunk go for a move? I really want to see a move right now. Oh, Apple and Apple are fighting. Oh, this is brilliant. This is what apples do. Apple's front wing is completely gone. How about Appleseed's? No. So, my guess, it's another ridiculous Appleseed send, and it leads to Apple's front wing getting completely demolished. That is my guess. As we'll go back up to the front, Trunk used about 10% there on that lap as he locks up into the corner, and Zolf has actually used a lot. He was on 30%, he's only on 15 now. So Zolf, I mean, I get why he's trying to get the gap. Zolf will have P2 how it stands because of the gap to Stevie. Oh, that's someone. Wait. I'm lost. It's Nick Hill. I'm sorry. Nick Hill has a little spin. Slots behind Tim now as a lapped car. As we're going to see Chonk again. Maybe go for a move on Zolf. Potentially. Zolf does not like Sector 3 at all. We're able to tell Zolf doesn't like Sector 3 and Trunk loves Sector 3. But then it's the opposite way about for Sector 1 and 2. Zolf loves it. Trunk, maybe not the biggest fan of it. But are we going to see Trunk absolutely drain his ERS? No, we are not. Are we going to see Zolf do it? Yes, we will. As there's going to be a 1.1 second gap going into turn 1 between these drivers. Trunk is letting Zolf get the gap because he knows he'll be able to catch up to him in Sector 3. As there's no drivers now in, like, within a 1 second gap except for this fight for the front. We can go back to Apple Topo and Appleseed. Apple Topo's still racing with no front wing. I mean, you've got to love it. If he was to pit, he would drop out the points. So he's got to continue driving with no front wing while he can. As there's a bit of chaos at the back. I believe that's Swisstack. Swisstack, I think, spun round there. Yeah, Swisstack had a little spin. But we'll go back up, and we can see Trunk, lets Zolf get the gap, but Trunk will always gain it back. Look at the ERS difference, 10% to 90%. And Trunk is really close. My voice is going right now. As the gap 4 tenths is the closest battle we actually have. We're going to see another Apple v Apple battle soon as well again. Trunk's on 100% now. This is unbelievable. He's saving. I don't even think he's actually trying to go for a move because he knows Zolf's penalty. So I think it's going to be... I mean, we've still got 4 more laps of racing, but I think Trunk is just going to keep it chill and stay behind Zolf and win on penalties, which would be incredible for his home race, as he is wearing a special Spanish helmet which he has made of the colours of Spain, red, yellow and white. Are we seeing any... Oh, James Sullivan and Suchel actually getting really close to one another. Another interesting battle. Suchel, of course, starting P2. James Sullivan was... Where was he? I cannot find it. It's right here. James Sullivan was P7. Suchel was P2. Also, can we talk about Zolf as well? What a race is this from him. He started P14 with a quali ban and is currently in P1, and I think is going to cross the line as P1, but will finish P2. Definitely driver of the day, I think, for Zolf. It'll either be Zolf or Trunk. As I'm hitting the wrong button, we're looking for this here for the tyre life. We're going to go back up to the front. I really want to see Trunk try send it on Zolf, but I don't think he is. I think he will just wait. Oh, please, Zolf. Please, Trunk, do it. And Zolf is using his 3%, which he has as well. But look how close they are. Trunk knows now he's used 20% down that straight. And with 4 more laps? 4 more laps. Last lap was 5 more laps. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Trunk now just closing in the gap as much as he can. We are seeing a move between James Sullivan and Suchel as James goes wide. They're side by side. There is a collision. Suchel is currently still P5. Remember, they're on 29 lap old enters. You don't have to pit under wet conditions. So they're just trying to do the whole one stint. Actually, 4 drivers are trying to do that, and it's currently working out for them as they are P3, 4, 5 and 6. But, of course, Swiss Stack, 4 laps remaining, 4-second gap. Who knows if Swiss Stack could maybe gain back to James Sullivan, but we did see a little mistake there. But we're going to go back up to the front again. This is unbelievable. You just have to watch this battle over and over again between Tronk and Zolf for the win. As Tronk has gained his 20% back, he's back up to 100%. Zolf is on 20, and he'll probably end up having 0 on the end of the straight. As I hope Tronk uses down this whole entire straight. He's still using. Yes, Tronk is getting it now. 25% used there. He'll end up having 100 again at the end of the lap. It's Villeneuve and Apple Sade. Villeneuve out of nowhere with the new tyres. As Apple Sade now has no front wing. That right? Apple Sade lost his front wing out of nowhere. Unless maybe a tap with Villeneuve. Can we get a better camera angle? Yep, Apple Sade has no front wing either. Apple Topo's still racing with no front wing? Yep, he's sticking it out. As he's going to have to actually defend off Villeneuve, who's coming in hot on the new tyres. Which is going to be interesting to see. Stevie, Tim, Suchel and James as well. All on 30 lap old inters. And in the Zolf and Suchel on 20 lap old. I did say it would have been a better idea to pit under the safety car. I was surprised it was only Zolf and Tronk to be in out of the top 6. I believe it was. Look at how much more confidence Tronk has as Nick Hill gets a 3-second time penalty at the back of the grid. Tronk has so much more confidence. He's really close now. Zolf gets a really good exit though there. Zolf using the 20% he has again. Tronk not able to catch up again. But it is going to be, I believe, if it continues like this, it's going to be an absolute masterclass of a win for Tronk. It's not going to be coming across the line as the winner, but in penalties it will be the winner. Zulf very wide there. As I think, oh, James Sullivan and Suchel side by side into turn one. I have just caught on to that. Whoa! Suchel's round. A tap with James and Suchel on 31 Apple's inners is round as his teammate Swistak overtakes him, and he's going to have Apple Tupa with no front wing. Close behind. It would be absolutely mental to see if Apple could get a move done with no front wing. Would be a brilliant comedy, but that could be a report from Suchel on James. But James now, I imagine, will push to try and keep a 5-second gap like he has to Swistak, because, of course, if he gets given a penalty from the stewards, it means he might get a 5-second time penalty, a 10-second time penalty. We're going to have to wait and see, but we're going to go back to the front. Again, we're going to enter the last lap of this race, and Tronk is very close behind again, and Tronk gets a good exit this time. Are we going to see a move? Oh, Zulf using Tronk, using... It's too much of a gap right now, I believe. We'll maybe see him move throughout the lap, but we're going to just pay attention to these two for the rest of the race, I think. As even though Zulf is going to come across the line and he's going to finish P2 because of this penalty, we have to congratulate him. He had a quali ban in this race and he started P14, and he's going to come across the line to actually win, but finish P2. Driver of the day will definitely be between Zulf and Trunk. I'm going to have to make the hard decision for the voting in Ero for who gets the driver of the day. As Zulf now has a second gap to Tronk. He's really pushing. As Apple gets a 3-second time penalty. No, Apple. As we can see, Villeneuve close behind. Of course, remember, Villeneuve has a front wing. But we've got to congratulate this man. Tronk, Fabricio Tronoso. He does not even have a podium in ERO, but he's going to win his home GP, the whole inter race. He's going to come across the line. Zulf is going to come across the line to finish in second, but it's going to be the Spanish driver. Tronk wins in Spain. He wins his first race in ERO, his first podium in ERO. Zulf, unlucky, but gets an amazing P2 with a quali ban. Stevie comes across the line to finish P3. Tim comes across the line to finish P4. We're going to see James finishing P5. Those three drivers who I just mentioned, Stevie, Tim and James, going the whole race on one set of inters. Unbelievable. Swistak's going to come across the line with his teammate Suchel just in behind. And we're going to see Apple. Apple, what are you doing, mate? He's binned it before the line. And I don't think he's going to get given points now because of this. But Apple bins it out of the last corner, and I think he's binned it too early. And I think he's just gave Apple side points. As we can see here, the last two drivers, Black Wolf and the Marcel Evans. As Tronk take a bow. What a race. It is a Mercedes win. Unbelievable. So, we have the Spanish driver winning the Spanish Grand Prix. Tronk wins his first race in Euro, his first podium in Euro, as I mentioned as well. Brilliant race from him, showing his pace on inners is very, very good. And he's a threat to F5 if it is a wet race. Zulf, brilliant race from him. P14 to P2, came across the line P1, but his time penalty from fighting cost him the win, unluckily. Stevie, P1 to P3, a very good race from him as usual. Tim, P4, good race from him. James Sullivan P5, also a very good race from him. Those three not pitting at all during the race. With Swistak P6, he pitted twice and finishes P6. But then if Suchel P7 also didn't pit during the race. Went from P2 to P7, still though a very good race for him. Alpine drivers are happy that they have got a good amount of points. We have Villeneuve in P8, with Bastian in P9. Technically, we had Apple in P9, I believe it was. He would have been P. I'm not sure. Villeneuve P8, Bastian P9, and Apple Sade P10. But then a Black Wolf P11. We have Apple crashing over the line, but crashing before the line. And then we have Marcel Evans, Nick Hill, and Isford to round it off. What a race that was. That was an unbelievable race. Wow, my throat is so dry. I have been talking like in a higher pitched voice than I normally do because I've been trying to talk so much. If I talk like normal, then yeah, it's not gonna go that well. But unbelievable race. You can go over. Oh my days, my throat's actually sore as well. Um, we will see you next week. Next week at the same time will be a very good race, actually. We're going to be at Zandvoort, the return to Zandvoort in Ero. I believe the first time we saw Zandvoort since, I think, season 3 or season 4 in Ero. So, like a 5-6 season homecoming for that race, as it is also going to be a sprint race. So, we're going to be doing a short quali, a sprint race, and a race. So, there will be 8 more points up for offer, which everyone will have to pay attention for, and it'll be a very good race next week. Personally, my favourite track on the game, so it'll be interesting to see what everyone thinks else of it. Like I said, you can go over to PlayStation F4 right now. I believe SFOD is racing in it from F5 as he did DNF early in F5, and then you could tune in tomorrow 5 p.m. GMT for F3. You can tune in 7 p.m. GMT tomorrow for F2, where I am currently leading the championship. I'm just going to do a bit of promo. No clue how. Third in Bahrain, second in Japan. I'm going to try go for another podium again in Spain. We'll see how it goes. And then F1 on Sunday. 6 p.m. GMT. Definitely watch that. That is going to be a very good race, as I think F1 right now being dominated by Jensen. Jensen winning both races, having, let me remember how many points. He has 51 points. Next driver is AXA, who is on 34, so a 17-point gap already forming between the top drivers. But that is all from me today, Cameron Don. I didn't introduce myself again, but you recognise me because I'm doing this every week for F5. You'll also see me potentially commentating F1, maybe racing in F1. We're going to have to wait and see. But thank you all for watching today's first wet race in Ero this season. It was very fun. And we will see you next week for the Dutch Sprint Grand Prix in F5. Thank you.